Hi, and welcome to our weekly Zoom event. And today we have a special guest and we have a special subject. We are talking about fasting. And I have a pleasure to talk today and tonight again with Niklas Christides from Dolce Vita Global. And also you can find him in Qi-Optima.com. Welcome, Niklas.
Thank you, Minja. And hi to everybody. I hope you had a good start to the year. And it's nice to cover this subject of fasting. And I think we'll probably touch on it from a slightly different perspective. So I'm happy to bring my insights.
Yeah, and thank you always. As if you have followed our previous videos, there's always happening expansion of your mind and your thinking and the way you may be viewing the world and life itself, like very holistic way. And for me also, we have had these Zoom sessions yesterday, and it was very powerful experience. I would not expect what would happen with this subject, fasting, because I had my previous thoughts of this. Even I always have thought, and I have always helped people by the muscle testing to find out if they want, if it's suitable for them to do the fasting or if it's not. And I knew that it wasn't for me. But now you have opened me way much more bigger view of this point of view, that fasting is not only for fasting from food, but it could be on everything. Can you a little bit talk about this for all of us?
Sure. And I'm really happy, obviously, with yesterday's discussion, that we were able to sort of help your situation as well. You had some migraine and headaches and stuff. So I think one of the things in these situations is that it is about expansion. It is about growing our awareness. And I think the most interesting thing about fasting really is that if you expand your kind of holistic insight and awareness, you can come to the conclusion that if that fasting can act as a model in everything we do. So rather than thinking of it as a way of weight loss or controlling your body or something like that, you should take a more conscious approach, so that you actually see, right, so can I adopt fasting even in my spiritual being as well? So why not? Because it's all about, in the end, listening to yourself. It's about finding harmony in the larger picture. So for me, this is the reason, like I said yesterday, is that fasting is not about bringing in routine into your body, or into your life that you follow, but more importantly, it's about listening or asking yourself the question, do I feel good? Do I need to fast? And you should ask this question. The more intuitive you become, the more kind of when you're a high energy being, you ask yourself more questions, even subconsciously. So you don't actually have to ask physically that question, but your body and your soul and everything is doing it all the time. It's asking the question, do I feel okay? And it keeps updating. And then you can, out of that, you can get a situation where, for instance, it's like, oh, I'm not going to eat for a day. This happens for me at times. So today I've been eating a lot. So I'm feeling I'm building up for something. So I need even more energy than what I'm producing, probably. So that's what's happening. So I'm building up towards something that I need to go through. Where at some other point I might be, just all of a sudden I don't eat for a day. So there isn't really a pattern. It's about where you are in your life, and it's about the balance and harmony in which you're in, that you should adapt fasting from that perspective.
Wow, that is so cool. And actually now while you were talking, I just realized that, you know, even this is normal and we know this, but every night we also sleep, we fast, and we also take like a time off from being awake. So it's very normal for us to take a time off, but I think when comes the problem, especially at my point of view, because that one I can know better because I'm in me, is that you just keep on doing and forget about listening, forget about even listening, even your body is screaming that you gotta stop now, even you have a pain here, you have a pain there, you still don't care about that, you just care about doing. And we are not machines, we are not machines, we have a certain amount of energy and we need to recharge.
Yeah, it's true, and it's a good point about how to approach this subject as well. And I think, you know, when we understand that dimension of not being a machine, is when you start to understand the organic side of things, which is that everything is interlinked, every cell, everything, everybody is working together in the bigger, grander scheme of things. Energy is the larger entity that kind of binds us all together and holds our information and so on. So in the end, it's about trying to understand that and respecting these kind of things. The more intuitive you become, the more you realize that, yeah, you have to actually do the things that are in balance with you, with your kind of reason of being here, reason for your life. And the more you do that, the more you will find that things like stressing, making choices for others rather than yourself, through yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't help the environment, but it's that you gotta understand, you know, what's driving your life rather than what's driving others. So it's you in the perspective of everything that is the most important sort of aspect of realizing that, oh, that's the best way to help. So what I often say is that if you're out of balance, so if your lifestyle, for instance, isn't good, you stress a lot, your diets are bad, you know, you don't understand what kind of food you get from the big supermarkets and stuff that they've taken the nutrition and all the stuff out, it doesn't matter what it says on the label. The quality of the stuff matters. You know, if you go and pick something like a wild herb and you eat it and you take one that comes from a processed like a line, you can sense the difference. And this is what people need to start to understand, is that just eating something doesn't mean that it'll help you to find your balance. So in everything we have to kind of work on this, that get ourselves physically into shape. If we're out of shape, we're in low energy mode. And things like fasting, you know, your life path will not suggest fasting for you if you're not in balance, because actually this is a really, really bad situation, because you'll just put more pressure on yourself rather than help yourself. So it's all about, you know, where are you in the perspective of, is this for me?
Exactly, I was wanting to go there also this way, because while I do my work as a complementary healthcare professional, I usually do not recommend fasting for people who has migraine, who has epilepsy. And yesterday in a Finnish, sorry, we didn't mention that Zoom was unfortunately Finnish. So if you don't speak Finnish, it would be difficult for you to watch this our yesterday session. But the idea is that when people are very unbalanced and they are not healthy, it is not recommendable for them to do the fasting, because like you said, that the fasting will like bring like bad things on the top, but then somebody have described me, you also, and Nicole also yesterday described me about also the amazing feeling what happens when your like your second brain, your colon can take a rest. So then happens like a, can you explain a little bit about that, what healthy people can experience on fasting?
Yeah, so when you get to that state where you the idea is that the body, I think, it's the body and the spirit, the spiritual working together. And I think like fasting is for me, I would explain it more like a gateway, so that you can actually step out of the things that are kind of very daily for you. So it sort of stops your system and forces it into a little bit more rest. And then that way you actually start to, because you realize that you cannot do things as intensely or so on, because it's demanding that to compensate for some things that are happening. And this is why I feel that the more you work on your awareness, the more you can then sense this kind of cleansing
need to be calm also.
Yeah, and that
or
cleansing,
react. Okay.
Yeah, that cleansing, that burning, sort of like it's burning inside out and taking out the stuff that you don't need. And when that happens, it's just like, you're burning kilos. So it's not necessarily you'll be the same weight the next time, but the point is that internally it's happening. So it's freeing the energy. So then out of that, you can get into, very clear sight. You can really get high downloads and everything from the divine, if you like. So that's the kind of state you go in, because you're more receptive. But really the point is that it can only happen when you're in balance with yourself as well, because otherwise, if you're forcing it, then it will not show up in the way. So this is the deal in everything, is that when you force it, it'll be something your mind made up, and in the end you're most likely suffering for it, because it's more complex, this universal process, than what the mind does.
So you just have to like let go, letting go. And what you were talking also about yesterday about the freedom, because of course then we are not so much of slaves that we have to get this much and this much food, because you can feel that, oh my God, 16 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours can go easily without eating. What kind of fastings you have tried in your life?
Well, I think I would say that I'm quite, in some ways, I'm quite ketogenic at the moment. So I'm, I'm moving away from meats and things like this also, and sugars and so on. Well, I've been quite aware of that, but it's again an interesting process in my case, is that I've never really put a lot of effort into learning about different diets, because my body and I've been trying to listening to what is calling me, and this has led me towards like why I have Dolce Vita with all the products that we have, because we want to know the quality. So I only really want to give myself things that I'm proud of, that I'm sort of saying, yeah, I know what this is. I can enjoy it and I understand it. And when I buy something from a supermarket, I don't get that feeling. I don't get the feeling that I know this product. I don't get the feeling I know the ingredients. I don't get a good feeling. I don't. And this is like the point is about, so this is how I kind of took charge and made it part of my life, to find the diet that works for me. But I'm not absolute in, I would say it's been going towards vegetarian and, reducing almost, quite heavily into that. Also, there is much more fasting involved, or which is coming out of my own sort of like today, you really just gonna go with some having tea and stuff, or you know, at some points I can quite easily just go even 16 hours without anything. So it's like, you know, it's interesting how it communicates with me, and I don't believe in this thing that we, you know, we have to be absolute about, I don't do this, I don't do that. Well, it's not really, I don't feel it's my choice. If it represents itself, then I will go there.
Wow, that's very cool. And what I wanted to tell, what I did tell in the other languages, Zoom fasting event, what we were keeping now, is that there are interesting, what you were mentioning also, that you can go for 16 hours also without anything. So it's called like a dry fasting. It means no water, no nothing. And I have one woman, I hope she will comment below this video a little bit about the dry fasting and what she have felt. But she have I know that she have at least 24 hours or even 48 hours tried this process. And if I remember correctly, it was in 48 hours or in 72 hours when you start having, like, for example, if I would do it, I would probably go through with a horrible migraine ever. And then that might be my last migraine forever also. This is what people say. But again, that haven't called me yet, never to try. So let's see when that might happen. But there was also another guy who I found on the internet, and it was very interesting because I recommend this isopathic medicine for people made from urine. It might be done from the blood or from your own saliva. But this guy actually drank his own urine during the 30 days, and her health improved significantly. He had gray hair. The hair started to grow back black. He had some kind of pains in the back, and that also disappeared. And motivated by this fasting, his mother was in a wheelchair using like 10 different medicines. So she just started to drink her own morning urine, no other fasting, no other changes, but she started walking. She could stop all the medicines what she has. So I wouldn't recommend this diet or this fasting for others, or you know, I just think this is very interesting information on surviving. Because what if we are in a situation and we don't have food, we don't have water, but if we know this, that we can actually survive alive by doing this, I think this is worthwhile telling it to people, because many people are scared and think that this is something that you cannot do. But really, in urine, there is nothing toxic for you. There is actually your lost vitamins, hormones, and everything in there. So what do you think about this? What do you say about this?
Well, it's interesting. I think everything that nature made is also made for us. So if something is coming out of us, it's available for us. So why not? It's just whether we have created again a block, a mindset that like this is disgusting, or you cannot, it's like a taboo. Well, if the thing that calls you is this, then the taboo isn't really helping you, is it? So
Yeah.
so you know, people should really be aware of this, and stop thinking about what the surrounding wants and tells you, and you know, go with whatever calls you. So but again, it's the point about being ready. And then one interesting thing about what you said is the motivation. So what is motivation really? What is a motivation to do something? Why do you do something? Well, it's a motivation when it's in a fairly like positive state, because it can also be very negative, but it's in a positive state, it really, you know, it boosts your energy. So in all aspects of things like fasting, and so where you push your limits a little bit, I think you should always try to sense your energy, what is happening with your energy. So in this case, like maybe they hadn't found solutions, and then they found this, like the mother or somebody, she go, oh wow, there's a possibility that I can be healed. So that energy actually plays its part. How much of the actual drinking of the urine against the energy, that you're generating, who is healing who? And I think this is the important thing about life, is to understand that in the end, it's about where we are in the spectrum. If we're on a low energy, and then all of a sudden we rise to a new level, something new happens. We need the material world around us to also to communicate with ourselves, so that we can motivate and we can make shifts using these things that are available to us. So that's why it's all about, it's about finding the harmony with nature. Nature is, a very wise and very unique thing, just like us. So and very complex. So it has a lot of solutions. We just need to be, we need to understand about microdosing, that we should always understand that we should never consume more than we ever need. So we quite heavily, we humans overeat, and we don't understand. A cat doesn't eat too much if it's in a good state, if it's out in nature, a dog, and living a good life. They eat just the amount they need. Why do humans overeat? All that kind of stuff. It's not natural. So again, we're going against the process because we're not listening. We're not listening to what we need, and again, if we would be more in line with what we need, we probably wouldn't need to think so much about fasting, because we would already be doing it.
Exactly, because they are the traumas. I totally agree. And because when I saw this video, I actually started trying myself the morning urine too. But I have to tell you that it was very interesting, because my body started asking it. Even I again didn't like the idea. I did not like the process. It was horrible, but I still tried it, because I thought that, my God, I want to try it, because if these people have so good results, why wouldn't I try? But I was very surprised on the how my body wanted to ask it, and I had the flavor, and it is weird. It is weird, but it called me a little while, and I wanted to try it. So it's good to be open.
Yeah, and I guess everybody has its own, we all have our own methods. For somebody, that method may be like a burning, like, I really want to drink my urine, and that's respectable. You got to let that happen, but it doesn't mean that your neighbor needs to do the same thing. So it's again about just, try to find the things that work for you. In a shop, try to feel, is this good for me or that? It's like, ask questions, and then you can get better answers.
Exactly. And for me, it was really like the surviving. And I received a message from a craniosacral therapy also, that I'm not, nobody's following me. I don't have to find a survival method or way. That was just a message for me. So that was also something that I was doing based on some kind of fear, what is coming behind. So always what we have a desire, what is calling, might be coming from somewhere else also, which is good to find out. Yeah.
And I think, we go in this, we can go a little bit back into the survival thing, because it is a lot about that. Like, fasting is a good way of also testing, our ability to cope with new situations. And we are here to learn. We're not here to be lazy. We're not here to just entertain ourselves, although that's, when I think we work on ourselves and follow our path, we actually will enjoy all the moments, but we have to grow through those stages first, because it's it's kind of like the universal pattern, that love, and in that lives joy. So because those are so elemental to us, it's it's what we will enjoy at the point that we have gone through our layers and and dug deeper into who we are. But then it's also interesting to take the perspective of environment. And we talked yesterday very well about cultures and religions and things like that, that, you have to, now it's Easter and people fast because it's Easter. Well, wait a minute. No, you are fasting because it's Easter. That doesn't make any sense, really. Does that call you? Because it's every Easter, it calls you? No, I think that's your mind talking. So the idea is that you really got to be careful with, or be more understanding of the fact that our environment has standardized itself. But standardization is very, very dangerous because everybody is unique. So when you do standardization and people start to follow standard procedures, processes, whatever, like patterns, then how much of that pattern is actually for you? And it's a very, very small percentage. And most of the time you're going against yourself. And this is a major problem, and that's why I don't really enjoy the trending of things like fasting, because it should be something that is an aware process. It's a process between you and, and whether you need to fast or not. And
whenever, not Eastern.
Yes. And you stop it when you don't need it.
Exactly, because actually I shortly gotta tell that we are creating new habits on Easter. We are having an Easter egg hunt in the park, and that's what we do. And this is Catholic surrounding where we live right now. So I talked to the other children what we're gonna do. Would you like to come with us? They said, yeah, we wanna come. But the mother says, no, we have to see this, that people are with their helmets on, walking and carrying with all the past. All the past, seeing all the past, and then the children were not looking happy. They would want to come to hunt an Eastern egg. So why wouldn't we create new habits, whatever we like? Why holidays have to be always the same? Why couldn't it be just being together? And what would I want to do this holiday?
Well, it's the worst thing about life in a way is that for why it takes such a long time to understand who we are is because the way we treat our children. We don't allow them the freedom. We are there. We're not guiding them. We're controlling who they become. And this is the most destructive process of all.
But we at least are trying to do something for it, and let's hope others too, and treat your inner child also in a way that we are having a conversation with it. And I did do what you and everybody asked me to do, that take some rest, and we went to the beach, and now I try to walk slower. So normally I run and I want to exercise and do everything. No, I just go slow until I feel going faster. That's it. Great. It was again, as always, great to see you. And I hope to talk to you again. And I wish you very happy Eastern time. Thank you, Niklas.
Thank you, Minja. Thank you, everybody. See you.
Thank you. Bye.